Most men ruin attraction before the day even begins with one weak text. Good morning, beautiful. It sounds sweet. It sounds safe. But in reality, it makes you look predictable, replaçable, and forgettable. Here's the truth. The first message she reads in the morning doesn't just greet her, it frames how she sees you for the rest of the day. If your words carry no weight, you vanish from her mind before her coffee even cools. But if your words are sharp, grounded, and rare, they'll echo in her head all day long. This video isn't about cheesy lines or empty flattery. It's about 7 good morning messages that come from strength, presence, and discipline. Messages that spark curiosity, command, respect, and make her think about you long after the screen goes dark. Because remember this, it's not the words that matter, it's the man behind them. And when you master the art of presence, even a single line can change the way she feels about you for the entire day. Most men wake up and instantly hand over their power. They grab their phone, open a chat, and start their day with desperation disguised as affection. Good morning, beautiful. I hope you slept well. I can't stop thinking about you. It sounds romantic, but to her, it smells like neediness. You think you're showing love. She feels you're seeking validation. That's the problem. Men pour out emotion hoping to be remembered, but end up becoming predictable, and predictability kills desire. A grounded man doesn't flood her phone with paragraphs. He doesn't fill silence with noise. His power lies in restraint. His message is short, clear, and calm. Something like, morning. Stay sharp today. That line may look simple, but it carries weight. Because it doesn't ask for attention, it commands it. It doesn't beg, it leads. It doesn't say, please, think about me. It says, I'm already moving. The psychology behind it. Humans are wired to respect stability. When your energy is calm and your message is measured, you project control. You show her that your emotions aren't tossed around by every whim of the morning. You become an anchor in a world full of noise. And women feel that energy immediately. A needy man says, I hope you're thinking about me. A grounded man says nothing and still stays in her mind. The difference, certainty. Certainty is magnetic. Certainty is what makes leaders, not followers. A real story, Tom, 48, used to send long, poetic paragraphs to a woman every morning. At first, she replied politely. Then the replies got shorter. Then came silence. He didn't understand why, until one day, he stopped. The next morning, he wrote one line, morning, own the day. No emojis, no softness, just presence. And suddenly, everything changed. She replied faster. Her tone warmed. She even started texting him first. Why? Because she could feel the shift. He wasn't the man chasing approval anymore. He was the man moving with purpose. His silence between words carried more power than his old paragraphs ever did. The Stoic truth. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. A weak text is neither right nor true, it's noise trying to fill a void. A grounded message however, speaks truth without needing to explain. The Stoic man doesn't wake up seeking validation. He wakes up seeking victory over himself, over his impulses, over the need to be liked. His morning text is not a plea, it's a reflection of his discipline, the shift. So here's your reminder. Stop texting like a boy who needs attention. Start texting like a man who already has direction. When your words are few, they force her to feel them. When your energy is grounded, it shapes her perception of you before the day even begins. Because good morning isn't just a greeting, it's a declaration. You're not saying I miss you. You're saying I'm unshaken. I'm focused. I'm here. That's how you place yourself in her mind before the world even touches her. Most men think women want comfort. They believe that the best way to be loved is to always be soft, to praise, to reassure, to flatter. But here's the truth. Comfort without challenge kills attraction. A woman doesn't dream about the man who tells her she's perfect. She dreams about the man who makes her want to be better. That's why the subtle challenge is one of the most powerful morning messages you can send. It's not a compliment. It's not a poem. It's a standard. Something like morning. Don't let today beat you. It's short, firm, and charged with meaning. You're not trying to please her. You're calling her higher. You're saying, I see your strength. Don't waste it. That one line shifts everything, because instead of feeding her ego, you awaken her pride, the psychology behind it. Human beings crave purpose. We feel alive when someone expects greatness from us. When you challenge a woman in a subtle, grounded way, you trigger that instinct. It's not about control. It's about respect. You respect her enough to see her potential and to hold her to it. And that energy is magnetic. A man who can challenge without attacking, who can push without forcing that man becomes unforgettable. Women remember how a man makes them feel, and the man who gives her a mission, even in one line, becomes the man she thinks about when the day gets hard. David, 52, used to text the same woman every morning. Good morning. Hope your day is amazing. Every time, she replied with the same dull, polite, thanks. He felt invisible. Then one morning, he changed his approach. He sent morning. Don't let today control you. Own it. No emoji. No begging. Just direction. And that one message changed everything. By afternoon, she replied, "You'd be proud of me today." That's when he realized she wasn't responding to his words. She was responding to his energy. He wasn't trying to impress her anymore. He was inspiring her. The Stoic lesson Epictetus once said, "Difficulties show what men are." That's the essence of the subtle challenge. When you remind her that strength is built through adversity, you're no longer just texting, you're leading. You become the man whose voice echoes in her mind when she faces pressure. Stoic men don't offer comfort to be liked. They offer clarity to awaken discipline both in themselves and others. So when you text something like, "Stay focused today," the world tests the unprepared. You're not flirting. You're anchoring. You're showing that your presence brings calm, not chaos. The shift. Stop texting like a cheerleader. Start texting like a commander. A cheerleader says, "You got this, Queen." A commander says, "You're stronger than this. Prove it." The difference is power. The difference is respect. The difference is that one man gets scrolled past and the other becomes the voice she hears when she's doubting herself. Because in a world full of men begging to be liked, the one who expects greatness is the one who's remembered. So remember, you don't win her mind by praising her comfort. You win her respect by challenging her strength. And when you become the man who calls her higher, you're not just part of her morning. You become part of her standard. Most men destroy their own magnetism by explaining too much. They text like open books, every feeling spelled out, every thought poured onto the screen. They think vulnerability means exposure, but what it really means in her mind is predictability. Here's the truth. Desire doesn't thrive on certainty, it thrives on mystery. And that's why the third type of message is so powerful, the mystery line. A mystery line doesn't tell her what to feel. It makes her wonder. It creates a silence inside her mind that she can't stop filling with thoughts of you. Something as simple as, "This day will tell me something about you." Or, "The way you move today will say a lot." You didn't compliment her. You didn't beg for her attention. You gave her a thought she can't shake. And now, while she scrolls through her day, your words echo like background noise, soft, persistent, impossible to ignore. The psychology behind it. There's a principle in psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished thoughts linger in the mind longer than completed ones. When you send her a line that leaves space, that space becomes mental gravity. Her brain can't close the loop, so it keeps circling back to you. She wonders what you meant, why you said it, whether it was deep, playful, or personal. That curiosity is what creates obsession, because when someone's mind is busy trying to interpret you, they can't stop thinking about you. Most men try to get attention by saying too much, but the most powerful man in the room says less and makes everyone lean in closer to hear him. The psychology behind it. There's a principle in psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished thoughts linger in the mind longer than completed ones. When you send her a line that leaves space, that space becomes mental gravity. Her brain can't close the loop, so it keeps circling back to you. She wonders what you meant, why you said it, whether it was deep, playful, or personal. That curiosity is what creates obsession, because when someone's mind is busy trying to interpret you, they can't stop thinking about you. Most men try to get attention by saying too much, but the most powerful man in the room says less and makes everyone lean in closer to hear him. A real story. Mark Wusher once sent a young woman a message that said, "The way you handle today will say a lot." No emojis, no follow-up, no explanation. At first, she smiled, then frowned. She read it again and again. By lunchtime, she was still thinking about it. She texted him later that night. "What did you mean by that?" He didn't reply. Now she's lying in bed, replaying his words, analyzing her entire day, wondering whether she measured up not to his standards, but to the version of herself she imagines he sees. That's the power of the mystery line. You don't chase her thoughts. You live in them. The Stoic insight Seneca once wrote, We suffer more in imagination than in reality. The Stoic understands that imagination is where most emotions are born: fear, désir, longing. So instead of feeding her emotions with words, you feed her imagination with silence. You become the story she writes in her own head. You don't demand space, you occupy it naturally. When you leave room for her to imagine who you are, what you meant, and why you said it, she fills those blanks with her own curiosity, and that curiosity slowly transforms into emotional gravity. The shift. Stop explaining everything. Stop killing mystery with over-communication. Start saying less, but meaning more. A boy texts paragraphs to be understood. A man says one line that can't be forgotten. When your words have mystery, your presence multiplies. You're not just the man who texted her, you become the thought that revisits her when the day goes quiet. That's the art of masculine communication. It's not about making her understand you. It's about making her feel you even when you're silent. So the next time you text her in the morning, don't tell her what to think. Plant a seed and let her imagination water it. Because when a woman starts writing her own story around you, you've already won her mind. Sometimes, the most powerful message is no message at all. Most men believe that more words mean more connection. They think if they write longer, they'll be remembered longer. But in truth, every extra word is a chance to reveal weakness. Because here's the paradox: the stronger a man's presence, the less he needs to explain it. That's why the silent image is so powerful. It's not a selfie begging for attention. It's not a text trying to please. It's a picture grounded, minimal, masculine, that speaks without sound. Something as simple as a sunrise breaking over an empty street, a black coffee on a cold morning, a photo of your running shoes, wet with dew, no caption, no emoji, just presence. The psychology behind it. Human beings are visual creatures. Our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text and far longer than words can last. A picture doesn't tell her what to feel, it makes her feel it. It invites her into your world, into your rhythm, into your silence. And here's the hidden truth: when you send her a silent image, you're not saying, "Look at me." You're saying, "This is my world." You can look if you want, but it moves with or without you. That quiet detachment is intoxicating, because women don't just crave affection, they crave direction. They want to feel the gravitational pull of a man who's already in motion. When you show your morning discipline, instead of typing it out, your silence becomes proof of power. A real story, Daniel. 47. Used to text. Good morning, babe, every day. And every day, she'd reply with something short and polite. Morning before going silent again. Then one morning, he stopped. Instead, he sent a single photo, the road in front of him. Still wet from the dawn run. The light just beginning to rise. No caption, no words. She stared at it longer than she'd ever admit, because in that one photo, she could feel him. His discipline, his movement, his focus. She imagined his breath, his stride, his energy, and most importantly, She imagined him. That's the moment you stop being a man who talks about strength and become the man who embodies it. The Stoic insight, Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The silent image is your chance to show her the color of yours without saying a word. A man who starts his day with discipline and calm doesn't need to announce it. He simply lives it. And when a woman sees a glimpse of that, even through a photo, she feels something ancient respect. Because what she sees isn't a message for her. It's a reflection of a man who doesn't live for her. And paradoxically, that's what makes her feel drawn in. The shift stops sending noise, starts sending presence. The insecure man fills her phone with emojis, pet names, and compliments, hoping to be noticed. The Stoic man sends nothing but evidence of a life well lived. A boy posts selfies. A man sends symbols, because true attraction isn't built on words, it's built on feeling. And when your silence carries discipline, she'll feel it without you trying. So tomorrow morning, before you type anything, stop. Take a photo that reflects who you are, not who you're trying to impress. Then send it without a single caption. And watch what happens. She'll see it. She'll feel it. And while every other man is busy talking, you'll be the one who lives in her mind quietly, powerfully, all day long. Every morning, millions of men lose the game before the day even begins, not because they lack charm, but because they lack frame. They wake up and their first thought is, "I wonder what she's doing." They check her stories. They craft their messages around her mood, and before they even leave bed, they've already made her the center of their world. But here's the truth. A man who orbits around a woman loses his gravity. The woman becomes the sun, and he becomes a satellite circling endlessly, hoping for warmth, wondering why he feels so small. That's why this fifth message, the frame setter, is where the power shifts back. Because a man with a frame doesn't revolve around anyone. He creates his own orbit. And if someone wants to be part of it, they align themselves to his motion. The psychology behind it. The frame setter message is not about attention, it's about direction. It tells her, "I'm moving, with or without you." Something as simple as morning, gym done, meetings stack, win the day, short, grounded, no emotion, no need, just rhythm. And that rhythm is magnetic, because women are naturally drawn to movement, to momentum. They're attracted to men who have purpose, not men who seek permission. When she wakes up and sees you're already in motion, a subtle shift happens in her subconscious. She stops seeing you as another man waiting for her approval and starts seeing you as a man she might have to keep up with. That's masculine polarity in action. And it doesn't come from what you say, it comes from what your words reveal about your energy. A real story. Anthony Usher used to send the same soft texts every morning. "Hey, what are you up to today? How's your day looking?" He thought he was showing care, but in reality, he was showing passivity. Then one day, he switched his tone. He sent morning, training done, heading to work, eyes forward, and that changed everything. Her reply came faster, then more playful, then curious, because suddenly He wasn't orbiting around her, he was anchored in himself. His energy had motion, and that motion was contagious. The Stoic lesson. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At day's first light." Think of what it means to live as a man. That's what the frame setter embodies. It's a morning declaration of purpose. You're not waiting for inspiration. You're not waiting for her reply. You're not even waiting for life to hand you a plan. You are the plan. And when a man moves like that, calm, deliberate, unstoppable, people feel it. Women feel it. Because in a world full of men chasing validation, the one who moves with direction becomes a signal in the noise. That's Stoic masculinity. To wake with clarity, to move with purpose, to speak with weight. The shift. Stop asking her what her day looks like. Start showing her what yours already is. A boy's morning begins with distraction. A man's morning begins with discipline. When your message reflects that, you separate yourself from the crowd instantly. You stop being another man in her inbox and become the image of movement, progress, and calm leadership. So the next time you text her, don't revolve around her. Set your orbit. Build your frame. Let your words say, without saying it, "My life is moving. You can walk beside me if you can keep up." Because women don't fall for men who chase their light. They fall for men who carry their own. And when your morning begins from that place of direction, you don't just become the first man she thinks about. You become the standard every other man is measured against. Strength without playfulness becomes heavy, and heaviness, no matter how powerful, eventually turns cold. That's why a true Stoic man doesn't just master control, he masters contrast. He can carry silence like a sword, yet drop one teasing line that makes her heart skip. Because attraction isn't born only from respect, it's born from tension and release. That's where the playful tease comes in, the energy behind it. A playful tease isn't about jokes or sarcasm. It's not about clowning to get attention. It's about lightness with control. You're not teasing her to prove anything. You're teasing because you can, because your energy is calm enough to play without losing power. Something as simple as, "Try not to cause chaos before noon. I'm counting on you." Or, "You've got that trouble incoming look again." Don't deny it. It's short, relaxed, and carries confidence. It doesn't seek validation, it creates polarity. When you tease her this way, she doesn't just laugh. She feels your dominance disguised in humor. She feels the authority in your calm. Because only a man secure in himself can risk play. The psychology behind it. Teasing creates a tiny wave tension followed by laughter. That microdose of unpredictability awakens her emotions. When a man is serious all the time, he becomes predictable. When a man is funny but needy, he becomes unserious. But when a man can balance the two, he becomes magnetic. Women are emotional creatures. They remember how a man makes them feel, and a good tease makes them feel alive. It makes them feel seen without being worshipped. Because in that one line, she senses a message deeper than humor. I see who you are, and I'm not intimidated by it. That's irresistible. A real story. Robert, 49, was the perfect gentleman. polite, kind, predictable. Every morning, he sent the same message. "Good morning, beautiful. Hope your day's amazing." She smiled politely, replied, "When convenient," and forgot about him by lunchtime. Then one morning, he changed the script. He texted, "Don't start trouble before your second coffee. You know how that goes." She laughed. Then she replied, "No promises." That one moment shifted everything, because now she wasn't just replying out of politeness. She was engaging. By teasing her, he stopped being background noise. He became the rhythm in her thoughts. The Stoic lesson Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." Playfulness is proof of that unconquerable mind. A man who can tease shows that he isn't conquered by her beauty, her silence, or her reaction. He's detached, centered, yet alive. When you tease from power, not from insecurity, you project two things. Every woman craves confidence and safety. She feels your strength in the steadiness of your humor. She feels safe because you're not desperate for approval. You can play and still stay composed. That's what separates a king from a jester. The shift. Stop trying to be perfect. Start being present. The perfect man edits his words until they're sterile. The present man speaks from calm energy, playful, but firm. When you text her a line that makes her laugh, blush, and think of you again at lunch, you've already won the day, not because you impressed her, but because you moved her emotions while staying in control of yours. That's the mark of a Stoic flirt. So next time you message her, don't send another "Hope your day's amazing." Send something that sounds like this: "Don't break too many hearts before lunch. HR's already watching you. Watch what happens." She'll roll her eyes, maybe laugh out loud, but she'll remember it. Because you didn't just text her, you made her feel something. And when a man can make her feel something without losing his frame, he doesn't chase attention. Attention chases him. Every man sends a good morning text. But only a few men, the rare ones, send words that outlive the morning. Because for most men, texting is routine. But for a Stoic man, it's ritual. He doesn't send words to seek attention. He sends them to anchor presence. He doesn't text to be remembered. He texts to reverberate. And that's the difference between the ordinary man who floods her inbox and the man whose message becomes a voice in her mind long after the sun sets. That's the timeless Stoic. Note the message that transcends words, turning philosophy into presence and presence into power. The shift from noise to depth. The truth is brutal. Most men try to impress women with emotion, but the man who leaves a mark, he impresses her with depth. Anyone can stir her feelings for a moment, but very few can touch her thoughts for a lifetime. When you send a message that carries wisdom, calm, and perspective, you stop being part of the chaos in her mind. You become the still point she orbits around. It's not about trying to sound smart. It's about being centered. Women are not drawn to men who merely flatter them. They're drawn to men who expand them, the ones who make them see the world and themselves differently. So when you text her something like Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What color are you painting today? You're not just communicating, you're creating reflection. Your message becomes a small meditation that stays with her through the day. It sets the tone. It defines the energy. It reminds her that you think differently, and therefore, you are different. The psychology of depth. There's a reason this works so powerfully. It speaks directly to her subconscious. While most men stimulate her attention, you stimulate her contemplation. You're speaking to the deeper part of her that craves meaning, direction, and wisdom. Because here's the truth, every woman has enough men telling her she's beautiful, but almost none reminding her that she's capable of becoming more. When your words carry thought, you become a mental anchor in her inner world. She'll read your message once in the morning, and again at lunch when she's stressed, and then again at night, when she's quiet, alone, and suddenly realizes the calm she feels when she reads your words isn't just from the quote, it's from you. That's psychological imprinting at its highest form, not through manipulation, but through masculine grounding. You become the quiet voice she trusts. The example that changes everything. Michael Wu Sen once dated a younger woman. She was beautiful, impulsive, and constantly surrounded by attention. Every morning, her phone buzzed with the same recycled words. "Good morning, gorgeous. Hope you slept well. Thinking of you." But one morning, she opened his message. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Remember that today, no emojis, no begging, no performance, just depth framed in calm strength." She read it once, then twice. By the afternoon, his message was still echoing in her mind, and later that night, when anxiety crept in, those words came back to her carrying his voice. In that moment, he became more than a man. He became a presence, a reminder of clarity, focus, and peace. That's what the timeless Stoic note does. It doesn't demand attention. It commands reverence. The Stoic philosophy in action. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Most men quote philosophy to sound wise, but the Stoic man lives it quietly, naturally, through his tone, through his words. You don't need to say, "I'm grounded, I'm disciplined, I'm stoic." You show it in the simplicity and restraint of your message. A line like, "The obstacle is the way. Whatever happens today, use it," shows more strength than 1,000 flowery compliments, because that's the language of men who master themselves first. And women can feel that mastery. It's not arrogance, it's gravity. The kind that pulls her attention toward you, even when you're silent. When she feels your words, she's not thinking, "This man is wise." She's thinking, "I feel safe in his calm." That's Stoicism in motion, the transformation of wisdom into magnetism, the legacy of words that endure. Every text you send either weakens or strengthens your frame. Every word either drains your presence or deepens it. The average man texts to fill silence. The Stoic man texts to create meaning. Your message doesn't need to be long. It just needs to carry weight. Something like control, the inner world, and the outer will follow. Or rise. The morning's already yours. Simple, direct, centered, Because your words are not words, they are reflections of your essence. And when a woman feels that essence, she stops comparing you to other men. You no longer compete for her attention. You become the standard by which she measures presence itself. That's what happens when your good morning message isn't sent from weakness, but from wisdom. The transformation, understand this, she doesn't fall for your quotes. She falls for the mind that chooses them. She doesn't think, "What a beautiful message." She thinks, "What kind of man lives this way?" That's where attraction becomes admiration, and admiration turns into connection. So stop texting like the world trained you to, with emojis and over-explanations.